Dynamite had quit the promotion. This was after an incident where he and Davey had attacked Bruce in the dressing room the previous week in northern Alberta, and there's just a lot of tension, I guess, in the whole promotion. But the Bulldogs had wrestled after they left WWF. They came in and wrestled for Stampede, and Dynamite was the booker for the territory. And unfortunately, business had gone down. I think their box office had worn off. Dynamite had suffered so many injuries. He couldn't perform at the level he once could, and I think he was losing a lot of his interest in matches. I think most of that was the injuries with his back and his knees, and and maybe his heart wasn't in it as much. And I think he had high hopes that he would get the promotion going again. We had lost Owen as our top star the year before, and when Owen left and he'd gone to WWF, he was our biggest draw, and it was really tough. And we lost a lot of our good talent, to either WWF or WCW. And Dynamite, Davey, after their falling out with the WWF and the incident with Jacques Rougeau, and I think Tom was just weary of the travel and the road trips, and he wanted to be closer with his family. Came back, and I think they had high hopes to bring the promotion back, and I think they initially did, but then I think there was just too many gimmick matches, and they maybe hot-shotted the territory, with cage matches. And
now, who was booker at this point? Was it Dynamite and Bruce tag teaming the booking, or one would get tied and the other would take over?
Dynamite had kind of replaced Bruce as the booker. This was in the late 80s, and my dad just thought we needed a change in the promotion, and Bruce had been booking for some time, so Dynamite was basically hired, to be the booker. And I don't think Dynamite would have come in if he wasn't in command. He wasn't just going to come in as a worker or a wrestler anymore, and so Bruce was basically relieved of his position, and Tom came in, and I think initially things went quite well. We had some really good gates with the Bulldogs coming in and winning the tag team title, and we brought Don Morocco in and put the heavyweight singles title on him, the North American title, and then things just kind of peaked after that. Dynamite and Davey we're now touring all Japan again. That was, I think, something Dynamite wanted to do, was restart the tours of Japan. He was kind of fed up with the WWF and the bad feelings the Rougeau incident left with him, and the treatment by WWF of them. The money wasn't as good; they weren't being used as well, and and obviously he'd overcome the back surgery, and he couldn't do what he once did in the ring, and so they started doing tours of all Japan again. And that was sort of a problem with Stampede, because when we got Dynamite and Davey established, and then they had to leave and do tours of all Japan, the gates would drop, considerably, because we built so much around them, so, and after a few months, when business started to drop and Dynamite, he just lost interest, and he wasn't as focused as a wrestler, or as a booker, and he wasn't making all the shows, and he couldn't perform as well. So, and I think he just lost his incentive, and and it was unfortunate, because I know he was enthusiastic and innovative initially, and that waned. I think probably because of his injuries, and he knew he couldn't perform that well in the ring, but he was also drinking heavily, and he was taking all sorts of painkillers, and I think from working in the WWF, they became accustomed to steroid use and taking speed, and taking Percocets, and all these things really affected his lifestyle, and obviously his performances in the ring. And so he lost his desire to do the long road trips and make the shows. And, you know, and when he didn't make all the shows, my dad didn't pay him. And so he kind of had a falling out with my dad, you know, over his position, and basically just resigned. And then Bruce took over as the booker again. This was, I think, after Dynamite. Davey toured all Japan for the second time in '89. And when he came back to work for Stampede, Dynamite resented very much that Bruce kind of replaced him as booker, and didn't want to work underneath Bruce. You know, there's just a lot of hostility and resentment there. And, you know, it led to an incident in the spot show, and I think it was in Hay River, and Dynamite and Davey just kind of let a mutinous element with a lot of the wrestlers, where they're showing up late for shows. They were drinking late. They were taking all sorts of painkillers and halcyons and speed and whatever to kind of get them through. And Dynamite was pulling a lot of ribs on some of the wrestlers too. And basically just didn't give a shit, you know, and he'd become kind of an anarchist almost, you know, and you know, and he didn't want to work under Bruce's rule, you know. And so this led to an incident in Hay River where they showed up about 2.5 hours late for a show, and Bruce had to carry the show with 2 other wrestlers. I think it was Bulldog Bob and Kerry Brown, and Bruce had to, because they are the only ones that had arrived at the show, and all the other wrestlers were late coming with the van, and they got there about 2.5 hours late. Dynamite had been wound up because one of the other wrestlers had told them that Bruce had laughed at their situation where they were all riding in one van, and Bruce was riding in a Buick with Bob Johnson, who is you know, the road agent. And I think Bruce was misquoted, or what he said was taken out of context. But when Dynamite got to the show, you know, he was livid, and as soon as he saw Bruce, you know, he kind of just went after him. You know, Bruce said, "Why are you guys so late? You know, it's 2.5 hours. The show started 2.5 hours ago, and we've got a solid crowd here." And you know, and Dynamite's response was boom. You know, he just punched Bruce in the jaw, and Davey, I think, headbutted him. So Davey was kind of a follower, and he was very much misled or influenced by Dynamite. So this led to a lot of tension with the promotion, and then it just happened to coincide with my brother Owen's wedding that weekend. So Davey was you know, married to Diana, so he was allowed to attend the wedding, but Dynamite wasn't. You know, Dynamite was actually booked to wrestle a show in Edmonton, and Dynamite you know, felt insulted. He felt rebuked that he wasn't allowed to come to the wedding. And it wouldn't have been appropriate or fitting, you know, after what had happened just 2 days earlier, for him to show up at the wedding. I don't think Owen would have been very comfortable with it as well. So when Dynamite was asked by me to make his commitment and wrestle on the show in Edmonton, you know, he basically resigned. You know, and I think he had given up on the territory anyway, and he basically just called my bluff and said, you know, if I'm not allowed to come to the wedding, then that's it. I'm done with your promotion.